With the 2025 season already underway featuring America's team.
Stop the cap.
And the Super Bowl champions, you just knew there couldn't be an opening night. There couldn't be a special occasion. You know that the NFL wouldn't miss an opportunity to put out the newly engaged Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Oh, and not to mention the former MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Let's start, Gavin.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dutch! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! You're making me, you're driving me nuts!
But behold...
Welcome back, all you gabbers. Thank you so much for joining us here on another edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. Of course, you're gabbing with the one and only Mr. CeeLo. And hope you guys are doing well, as the weather has really been nice. It's been phenomenal. Even in the deep south, hope you guys have been doing okay. I'm just getting adjusted to this wonderful weather that we've been having. Just appreciate you guys and show you how much love I've been having. I'm working on a shirt for the show, you guys. As you guys know, I've been working on a shirt for one of my other shows, and it's pretty much almost ready. It's waiting to go to print now, so I will be working on this one ASAP. But of course, you guys know we are looking at another opening kickoff weekend game on Friday in Brazil, as Patrick Mahomes and the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs will face off against Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. See, I'm still trying to get used to saying Los Angeles because in my eyes, I still look at these Chargers as the San Diego Chargers.
Who cares?
I know there's a lot of y'all that feel that way.
So?
And yeah, but it is what it is. Looking at this game, I know a lot of people are going to say, why even play this game? Well, it's actually one of the more exciting matchups, primarily because the Chargers have always played the Chiefs exceptionally well in their own building. Historically, the last couple of years, you can look at this series and you can judge the coaching that has been the problem. I remember there was one game on, I think, a Thursday night where the Chargers just kept going up and down the field, but they couldn't get any points. They kept going for it on fourth downs. And it ended up being a game that had they kicked their field goals, that they win this game. But ultimately, you can go do what ifs all you want. There are games where if you don't kick field goals and go for touchdowns, you end up winning too. So, in a sense, you got to play the numbers. And sometimes you got to go by your gut and kick the field goal. And as my brother said, you get the points. But we look here at this matchup. To me, where this matchup is probably ultimately going to be won is the fact that Rashawn Slater got hurt early in right there in the middle or at the tail end of training camp / preseason, after he had signed such a massive extension with the Los Angeles Chargers. And the reason why this is so big, even though they took Joe Alt and moved him on the edge. Now, ultimately, Joe Alt was the guy that got moved to the tackle, and he played that position. As you guys know, I'm a University of Notre Dame guy. So, ultimately, he got moved to the left tackle position. So, ultimately, it's going to be a situation where if the Chargers can maintain the line of scrimmage and keep the defensive front at bay. Now, as we all know, the Chiefs will be without one of their star wide receivers. It'll be up to Xavier Worthy and the banged up Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and even you can throw in the rookie Tyquan Thornton, as well as returning running back Kareem Hunt, who's a great receiving back, to minimize the blow. But then you got two newcomers on that offensive line in Josh Simmons and Jawan Taylor. So when you look at what you have coming back with the offense of the Chiefs, you got to be aware that this offensive line on the edge is very young, and the ultimate point is you want to be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And throughout the history of this rivalry, they've been so-so. But ultimately, you wanted to be able to control the pace of the games so that you'll be able to run the football and be able to keep Mahomes off the field, which has been a really good pattern. And probably one of the other stories of this game has been the return of Charger great Keenan Allen. Trey Pipkins is going to be the guy that's going to be getting the bulk of the work, I would imagine, from the Chiefs defense, which I'll talk about later. But you're ultimately looking at this Chiefs team as Justin Herbert. You really don't look at this team as being a team that's going to throw it down the field, especially when you think about Jim Harbaugh as being the coach. But ultimately, when you got a gunslinger like Justin Herbert and the league going to where it's going, you almost have to kind of do that. You don't pay Herbert the kind of money that he's being paid and then kind of let's reel you in. I think ultimately this is going to be one of those games where if the Chiefs can't be strong up front, and when I say strong up front, I'm actually referring to them being able to hold up against the run. See, people forget this line is still suspect. Now, I imagine that the Chiefs are going to continue to move Chris Jones around. Ultimately, I think what they'll try to do is they'll probably give him they'll put him in front of Trey Pipkins a lot, given that the interior as well as the exterior of the line of the Chargers is so solid outside of him. That's where you're going to have to go. So ultimately, I see this as being a situation where Pipkins is going to have to really bring his lunch pail and go to work that day. I know the one thing that Jim Harbaugh is going to want to do. He wants to be able to play big boy football and control the pace of this game. Ultimately, that is what he wants to do, is be able to control the pace of this game. And the only way he's going to be able to do that, he's going to have to be able to run the football. And of course, you got Omarion Hampton, the rookie, and then you've got Najee Harris, the free agent addition out of Pittsburgh. What better way than to try to sledgehammer a defense than to throw in these two big bodies, physical bodies at this front, and then hopefully you get into a position in the fourth quarter where you've got Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton, and Leo Chenal trying to tackle these guys. It becomes a really tough assignment to do late in the fourth quarter. And then you talk about Karlaftis and Omar Norman Lott, the rookie out of Tennessee, and then Mike Dana. You got guys that are not overly sized on this Chiefs defensive line. They're more predicated to stop the pass. Everybody except Lott, whom is questionable in this game. They're presumptions that he's going to play in this game, and it better be, because this is a big human being that they've got in the middle of this defense. One of the few big bodies they actually have. Now, I'm not saying these guys aren't quick, but you've got Mike Denon, and then you've got Ashton Gillette, the pass rushing specialist out of Boston College. This is where they want to get you, and Jim Harbaugh knows this. So one thing he doesn't want is to be in downs where this very fast, athletic defensive front can just tee off on you, and they can play 7 men in coverage against the gunslinging antics of Justin Herbert. Now, we talked a lot about Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, and Keenan Allen. You know, well, there's been a lot of talk about those three. The seriousness of what this guy can do throwing the football is something that really worries defensive coordinators in all over the National Football League, especially when he has big, fast targets. Like I said, he's got the rookie Trey Harris, and then he's got Quentin Johnston, whom really has not lived up to his bill. And this year they get Will Dissly, the former free agent out of Seattle. The all of this is going to fall back on whether this offensive line can protect. And I think they're going to take Trey Pipkins and they're going to single him out as the weakest link, and they're going to go at him. So, to me, this is where this offense is going to have success. I do think running the football is a good strategy for the Chargers, because here's the reality. As I said, this line is undersized. Even your linebackers are not really big. Drew Tranquill, Leo Chanel, and Nick Bolton, these are not big guys. And then, as I said, if you can get maybe Zion Johnson or Bradley Bozeman or even Mekhi Becton, the free agent out of New York, you get one of these guys that's able to get upfield and get their hands on these linebackers. This could be in for a long day for the Chiefs, because not only are you moving the chains with the running game, you've got two physical backs that are going to wear down. And this is huge considering they lost Eric Reed to free agency. I know a lot of people were saying they didn't carry much weight into whether or not this was going to be a huge deal, but I see this as a huge deal. So this is going to be a test to see if the Chiefs can handle it. Now, on the flip side, the Chiefs' defense has got to be able to get pressure with the four that they have. That's just imperative. We already know what they like to do defensively. They do like to bring extra bodies, but I see them being able to do some of that as a Trent McDuffie, and you're seeing two totally different corners in this secondary starting this year. In Christian Fulton and Jalen Watson at the nickel position. So you got a lot of changes on this defense, and this is going to be a year where I think you're going to have to see the resurgence of Super Pat. So let's look at their offense. As I said before, they're going to be down one of their studs as Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Juju Smith-Schuster, along with Travis Kelce, are going to have to prove themselves to go along with Travis Kelce, whom is getting older. And it needs to really be considered that this could be his last season. And it'll be about time for Noah Gray to step into that position. Now, can he fill those shoes in a reserve role? Absolutely. He's shown flashes of it. So the question then becomes, when you look at the base 3-4 of the Chargers, can the Chargers slow down what little semblance of a running game that the Chiefs try to throw at you to keep you honest? You've got some really good linebackers in this crew, led by Khalil Mack and Denzel Perryman. The truth of the matter is, if the Chargers are going to win this game, this is where it comes. Good, strong defense and great running offense. They're going to have to control the pace. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Now, with the addition of Dante Jackson in the secondary to replace Asante Samuel Jr., you still got Aloy Gilman and Derwin James patrolling the safety. You got young Cam Hart. And then you've got Tareeb Still taking over at the nickelback position. I truly believe that even though you don't have Samuel as a member of the team anymore, he would have been injured anyway. So the Chargers were already prepared to move for life without him. However, that position is one that if Patrick Mahomes sees a weakness, he's going to go after it. I mean, let's not sit here and pretend Mahomes is one of those guys that doesn't understand, hey, I'm going to pick you apart this way or that way or this, that, and other. He's going to go after the weakest link. And it doesn't matter which receiver it is. He is going to go after it. He's going to consistently chop away. That's why it's so crucial that the Chargers find a weak link on that defensive front of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they need to attack. Because they need to get this game into the fourth quarter. I don't care if they're within 10 points and they've been running the football efficiently. This could be a long fourth quarter where the Chargers are able to get this game where they want it and they could steal it. However, looking at the totality of this game, I truly believe it's going to be a game where these tackles for the Chiefs are going to have to show their worth early on. I think you look at Khalil Mack, Kyle Kennard, Bud Dupree, Tui Piloto. These are guys that are going to get the edge, in my opinion. And then not to mention, you're going to see Henley and Perryman coming at certain opportunities as well. So, Jawan Taylor and Josh Simmons are going to be tested early. And I think they're going to be tested often because at the end of the day, the point of getting to Patrick Mahomes can't be stressed enough. You can only cover so long. And we've seen this. Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown are speedsters. Juju Smith-Schuster is lost a step. Even though he's still a good third down option, they're loaded with speed between Jalen Royals, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy. But the reality of it is, if you can get to Mahomes, even confuse him, that is a huge, huge opportunity for you to get not only get off the field, but then if I'm a Chargers, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I want to be able to at least get off the field twice each half. Now, you're going to have a lot of people say, what? You got to remember, you got two brand new corners in this secondary if you're the Chargers. I mean, excuse me, you got a new nickelback. And where is the favorite place for a team to go now when it comes to attacking? That nickelback. And you don't attack the boundary quite as much. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, what you're going to have to see is you're going to have to see a lot of Ladd McConkey on third downs. Because when I look at this and I see Jalen Watson as being the new corner, or even the right cornerback at Christian Fulton, if you're the Chargers, you got to think, hey, look, we can handle this. We can rotate, moving Ladd McConkey in and out of the slot with Keenan Allen, or even throw in Trey Harris on occasion and place him in there. But when you have a savvy vet like Keenan Allen, whom you almost have two Keenan Allens on the team when you look at how intelligent and how smart Ladd McConkey already is as a route runner. And, you know, when you have those kind of leaders and those type of young players that are really eating everything up from the vets, and generally that's what you get. And honestly, I look at this game and I say it's going to be a game that is won in the trenches. It is truly going to be won in the trenches. If Trey Pipkins can hold up, I think Herbert in the running game is huge. If Simmons and Taylor hold up, that's going to be huge. But I ultimately look at the fact that there is a huge glaring weakness at Kansas City's way. And I think this is the opportunity that Jim Harbaugh's been waiting on, and he finally gets over the hump. The Chiefs go down 0-1, and the Chargers pull off a win. I'm going to say that it is going to be 24-21. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you comment down below, as well as hit me up on my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo and keep up with all the shenanigans I'll be caught up with in season and out. As well as go to Facebook, join the group, as well as join the actual Facebook page so you can keep up with all of the chats, shows, as well as polls that we will be presenting throughout the season. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.